First item on the agenda is having Travis Farley introduce himself to us and have him understand, as I said to him, was it last week?
Yep.
That even though you've only been here a short time, Travis, your number one priority is
Tricentennial Committee. Yep. We stress that. Number one. Priority number one.
all right. Okay, we're off to a good start. So, Travis, why don't we ask you to tell us who you are, where you came from, which I think is really impressive, and how long you've been here, and so on.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to expand on my past. So I worked in the town of, I'll give you an abbreviated version, the town of Norwood. I was the program coordinator for 1 year, and after my 1 year in Norwood, I got the opportunity to be the superintendent. So I've been the superintendent of Norwood. I was superintendent of the recreation department in town of Norwood for about 8 years, and after that I made the move to Natick, and I was the recreation director there for the last few years. And before the recreation world, I was actually in college athletics for about 10 years. I've always been kind of a rec kid. I grew up in rec, and I've always had a background in recreation, event planning, programming. I really love the community feel that you get with recreation and being part of a community and really making a difference and making an impact on a community. I think is fabulous. It's something that I love. I love doing it. And in Norwood, we actually, the recreation department was part of the 150th. So I went through a similar process with the town of Norwood in our 150th when we had a celebration there. We actually, as the recreation department, contributed one event, and we kind of helped with multiple different events throughout the calendar year. But we did a first night as a recreation department to kind of kick things off for our 150th in Norwood. It was post-COVID, so it was a little funky. We had it outside, and we had a really good day. We had ice carvings. We had a road race. It was a lot of fun. We had different inflatables and events and games on the common. I've done town days with 10,000 plus people. I've done Halloween, fall events, tree lightings. We got a pretty good background in event planning. And I put on parades post-COVID. Right after COVID, I put on Norwood's 4th of July parade, which is usually a pretty big one. They had it's a little bit of a longer parade, but it's historic. It has to be one of the oldest ones in Massachusetts, I think, or at least that was their claim to fame. But it was a really good experience and eye-opening for me because I had never put on a parade and realized the logistics that go into it. Police, fire, booking bands, and all that fun stuff. It was eye-opening for me, and I think we had to do it because it was the first 4th of July parade post-COVID. We did it in 2 months for something that usually takes 6 months to do, and we did it in 2 months. So it was a crash course in parade planning, but it was a good one. So it's something that I enjoy doing quite a bit, and I know Christina's got a lot of good ideas. Our fabulous program coordinator, Christina McCarthy. So I think in any way, shape, or form, and I know Tim was involved in this committee as well. So anything that we can do to lend a helping hand or help out with, I think the recreation department would love to help out. That's a long version. Sorry.
We can just go home.
Yeah. Here you go, your notes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was in Norwood, they did the 150th, and they kind of did a calendar of events, and they focused on the bigger community events that they already had, and they just tried to sprinkle in some things to make those events a little bit bigger and have a presence of the 150th. In this case, it'd be the 300th. But I know like Heritage Day, Summer Nights, I think the Santa coming in a helicopter. I don't know the exact name of that event. So there's like key community events that are already like staples. Is just kind of maybe having a presence there, fundraising and adding a little bit of something in each event that makes it a little more special and kind of a key event, and then maybe sprinkling in a new event here and there. That's all I really did in Norwood when I was there. And like I said, we had a lot of committee members that were there that are asking for the recreation department to do a lot. So we just focused on one thing that we could do to help out as a calendar long event. It would just happen to be the first night, and the weather really cooperated, and we had a really good turnout. But if there's anything that we can do on the rec side to help out, we'd be happy to help.
Travis, when you were doing all of these things in those two towns, how much coordination did you have to do with the police and the fire and the DPW?
It's a lot. Like it ends up being a lot, and that's part of the police, fire, DPW are probably the three off the top of my head biggest departments that we have the most interaction with events like this. You have safety, CPR, first aid with fire, and then cleanup, logistics, parking. Everybody kind of gets pulled in quite a bit. So bigger events and key events like Heritage Day, summer nights. We already had a couple summer nights meetings. DPW, police, fire, board of health are all kind of key players in those events. So those would be a lot of interaction and a lot of working with those departments to make that happen.
And you've been there.
Yeah, we've had one summer nights meeting. We're gonna have another one in the next week, but summer nights is in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. It's hard to believe it's already August. It's flown by. We've got some really good sponsors lined up, so we've been doing that as well. So it's definitely a lot of we're all part of the same team. We're all trying to put on and make the community a little bit better through events and events like this. So I think a lot, and in my brief interaction with the police, fire, and DPW so far is it's a really good team. And they are willing to do anything to help out with these events. So we're excited. I'm excited to see it firsthand. I've actually never seen one, so I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Well, we're beyond thrilled, especially since you said the magic word
Parade.
parade.
Do you know who in Southborough has helped on that parade for Heritage Day?
Excuse me, say it one more
Do
time.
you know who in the town has worked on that parade for Heritage Day?
I have not. No, I'm
In my
trying to make it through
experience, it's been,
summer nights.
you know, through, you know, the veterans and Steve Wynot in
But there's
particular.
gotta be like somebody that
Somebody coordinates.
Coordinated.
I think-
led it.
I don't know. I mean, I think it
Not
might be the rec,
officially.
but I don't know.
Really?
What's a small
Yeah.
parade?
So, you know, usually Steve Wynot contacts me and says, you know, can you tell me, you know, are all the board members marching? This is where we're meeting. So it's been more of a sort of a veterans flair to it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Makes sense.
And
Okay.
selectmen marching and so forth.
That's awesome.
Can I ask you another question?
Shoot.
Have you had pushback on using fireworks?
No, but I know there is a trend nationally because I do a lot with the NRPA, the National Record Park Association, even Mass Record Park Association. There's definitely been a tick up with like drones and drone shows and laser shows because fireworks aren't environmentally friendly and pets and the whole kit caboodle. PSD with vets and stuff like that.
You haven't heard that in Southborough?
I haven't heard that, but I'm so new. I don't know. I know.
I assume they're still happening.
Yeah, that we've already got the contract. They are happening in summer
Very
nights.
Okay.
I can verify that. But
I feel like
every
everybody
community,
heard it was at town meeting
Well, town meeting and on our survey,
and on the survey, people
Yeah.
are getting,
we had some feedback not to do fireworks.
yeah, I'd be interested to hear it because I
Just one or
mean,
two voices.
Yeah, but you know, you wanna. It's worth taking into account.
I think it's always good to look at other options. I know, yeah, so it's always good to look at other options.
I like the laser show idea.
The laser show is an interesting one. I've seen drone shows before.
I've seen those, yeah.
I think,
the laser shows.
I could be wrong, but I think it was Lake Winnipesaukee is a big 4th of July show, and I think this year they did drones, but I could be mistaken. It was one of the New Hampshire towns on Winnipesaukee. They usually do a fireworks show. This year they did a drone show. It's pretty neat. It's a good twist.
Yeah.
Always worth looking into.
Do you have any idea, Travis, from the communities that had moved toward the drones, what the cost differential is compared to fireworks?
I don't know. I'm happy to look into it though. We have a pretty good network of rec professionals with the Mass Rec and Park Association, Mass Rec and Park Association that we can pull from to see
Yeah,
what
or
the average
get some
cost was.
leads on who
Yeah,
handles that.
First homework assignment.
there you go. I like it. I can work with Vanessa on that. I can get that to her.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to do that.
or
We also-
the laser show, I mean, you have to have a,
we also did plan to supersize like an event like
summer
nights,
yeah.
you know, this in our particular year. So we're right in line with what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, when we did it in Norwood, it was a talking about Norwood a lot, but we just went through a very similar thing there. And it was, they would, if we had an event, they would throw us like, okay, we fundraised and we'll help you fundraise. And we were able to contribute $500, let's say, and we got you an extra inflatable. And we'll have a presence at a table for the 150th. We'll have a table at the event. And we'll help market other events that are going on in town that we have upcoming. So it's kind of just not only the financial component, but also having a presence and event to highlight other things going on in the community that are upcoming, that are key to the 300th.
It's definitely one of the questions that I had is how do you work with an already established program in the town, but for this one particular year, we want to supersize it. So who controls the programming and the organization and fundraising for that?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
depends on obviously who's running the event. The rec events, I can just speak for the rec events that like we would work with you hand in hand if there's something you want to do or had an idea with, or hey, we'd like a table at that event and we really like to have this kind of presence. We would work with you on that event, like Heritage Day, for example, or summer nights. We wanted to have an extra inflatable and okay, I've got some vendors I can work with and give you estimates. And if you want to have a table there, we can facilitate that, depending on what kind of presence you want to have at said event. But we can work with you on that as well. And they had, and they also had, I don't know how active it was, but they had like 150th event proposals, program proposals for the people in the community to fill out. Some they were able to do, some they were not able to do, but they had like a budget, program, event idea, what they'd like to do, what they have accomplished. So that way anybody that lived in town could try to rally their group or organization and try to come up with an event idea for the community as well.
Yeah.
Some they were able to execute, some they weren't.
Trying to do that.
But it was, I can try to get a copy of the event proposal if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Sure. We've created
Two
this
homework.
survey. We've
Nice.
created this survey that's trying to not only garner volunteers, but garner the ideas for what they want to see during that year.
Yeah,
And also reach out to the individual organizations in town to see, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, veterans, whatever, to see how they are planning to participate.
I think having the meetings early and doing the prep work like you guys are doing right now to get out, so that way you can come up with a calendar of events and have that coordination led up beforehand. It sounds like we're well on our way in doing that, is putting yourself in the right position as well.
Jim, Andrew,
No questions. I think it's a wonderful aspect that you're willing to jump in and help like this.
Thanks, Travis. And it was interesting to hear about your experience with Norwood.
Thank you.
I personally am surprised Norwood is only 150 years old.
Yes, they used to be a part of Dedham and they broke off. It's a fairly young town. I think I want to say it's 100 to 150th, but I remember looking at it being like, that's really young. Like it's young as far as towns go.
Yes.
Very young. But yeah. Good stuff.
so, would you be willing to come back and come back at our next meeting, which we haven't scheduled yet?
Yeah.
We'll do it once a month.
I'd be happy to.
And we may, as this meeting goes on, find it necessary or productive to have one or two of us meet with you separately to get a little bit more detail as far as Heritage Day.
Yeah.
And any other things between now and then, because we're cruising through the summer here.
Yeah.
If we only do meet once a month, we only have 2 more meetings for Heritage Day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's, I think we're gonna need to have more interaction and more action before more than just 2 meetings.
Yeah.
Have you set up started the planning for Heritage Day?
Yep. We already actually have the registrations online, so we've been taking table registrations today.
And how big are the booths for that?
I want to say they're 10 by 10, but like I said, I haven't been to the event myself, so I'm
Do you offer discounts to nonprofits?
I believe we do. I'm
Yeah,
almost
I
certain.
spoke to Christina about that today. There's no fee for the Tricentennial Committee to have a booth. So you'll have a booth in the area where
Yeah.
you know, the other,
We want it double wide though, because we already have a 10 by 20. We have a tent that's like 10 by 20, so we need a double wide.
If that's something that they can
I'm sure we
accommodate.
can make it happen.
I think that would be.
We'll make it happen. And like, I will help out as best I can. It's hard to comment on events when you actually haven't been through them yet, but I will, whatever we can do to help and facilitate, we're happy to do so.
That's gonna be kind of our kickoff
Yeah,
Heritage
to
Day.
really introduce the whole,
that's great.
yeah, so we're excited about, you know, getting the word out on that day.
Yeah, that'll be a big one.
Big, yeah, big
I'm looking
presence.
forward to seeing it. Good stuff.
Jim, Andrew, last bites? What's that?
Nothing further.
So you're welcome to stay and absorb more work.
I'll probably get home with the family, but I appreciate you guys allowing me to come, and I'm happy to come to the next one. Just let me know. And yeah,
I think we should figure on you for the next one for sure, but be ready to get tapped for a meeting in between.
of course,
Unless we meet early in August, I don't know.
whatever you need. Well, thank you guys. I
Very nice
appreciate
to
you
meet
allowing
you,
me to come.
Travis.
Thanks for finally meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Even
summer nights,
if not.
Yes, hopefully before. Bye, guys.
Bye. So let me see.
His
here.
experience is awesome. Great.
We keep saying that.
So Kevin, are you able to hang around or did you want to jump on now?
I could do it quick now, like in 2 minutes if it's
Yes,
okay.
yeah, we're gonna hear from Kevin Miller, as a result of a meeting that he had recently. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks, Don. And I thank you for your indulgence and allowing me to crash the meeting unannounced. There's information that came to me, and I was going to send an email off just to Jim as our historical commission's rep. I'm the Kevin Miller, the chair of the historical commission, just for the record. I was going to send it off to Jim as our rep on this committee and to Don. And then I saw that you actually had a meeting tonight, and I was working at home all day around the corner. I thought, well, I'll comb my hair and get out of the house for half an hour. I had an email recently from a fellow named Norm Corbin, who serves on Northborough's Historic Districts Commission and is a historian with their historical society. And he's also the vice chair, and this is the point of this visit. He's the vice chair of the Northborough Revolutionary 250th Committee. This is a newly formed committee in Northborough with the intent of celebrating the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, which happens to be, of course, in 2026. And he reached out to me saying that he had recently taken a meeting with the Northborough Southborough School Superintendent's Office about getting school children involved in that effort, and the question came up, well, does Northborough have a 250th American Revolutionary committee? So does Southborough have? I'm sorry. So I answered Norman. I said, well, in fact, really all of the energy in that kind of sphere has been going to our really fine Tricentennial Committee. And I explained to him what, I watched some of your meetings on the replay, and I know the heavy sled you've been pulling and all the great work, you folks have been doing over many months now. So I said, the energy has gone into that sphere up until this point. However, I thought it was kind of interesting. And I thought, historical hasn't met on this since this information came into me. So I can't speak definitively to them, but I have a pretty good sense of the temperature of my group. And I know, Jim will vouch for this, that this is an engaged crowd. And I think we would be willing and interested in doing something in that department. And I thought that the Tricentennial Committee would be a natural partner here, because I think, and again, I feel I don't want to add more stuff onto your already very, heavy load that you're all pulling. But I thought that maybe there's some synergy we can work together to contribute to this 250th initiative perhaps in partnership with Northborough, but also to sort of feed your efforts to, basically to gin up interest in advance. Again, this would be happening in 2026. Of course, the Tricentennial is 2027. Maybe you have a way to get school children involved and sort of ramp into this, and hopefully not add, too much to your plate. And again, historical. Again, I don't, can't speak for the group, but I can just give you a sense of where I think my group will be at, and Jim might chime in on this as well. But I think we'd be interested in helping out. So all this was a friendly visit tonight. I just, caught Don in the hall before the meeting and said, do you think you folks might be interested?
So what do you think that the historic would do some kind of program for the 250th for the revolution, and the Tricentennial take part to promote the events for the following year?
Yeah, I don't, Patty, I don't have a hard notion about this. I'd be totally open to whatever, if you, absent me, want to discuss it among yourselves. And if you see a path forward, maybe together with historical, and again, of course, Jim's already here, so there's a conduit. We can all maybe work together and get the school kids involved, celebrate the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, and also kind of help feed interest in the Tricentennial specific to Southborough.
Yeah.
So it's just a thought. And again, I still have to talk to, historical as a group and see what they think. And I don't really think anything about it yet, except I wanted to bring it to Jim and Don and the rest of you folks and get a thought.
Can I make one more comment? It's potentially a very good idea. I don't know whether Tricentennial gets involved in the 250 revolution thing, but I also want to point out to you that should you come up with a fabulous idea, I actually received a grant notification today. FY25 Massachusetts 250 grant application is now open, offering a unique opportunity to fund projects that celebrate our state's rich history. This grant is perfect for those planning special events, educational programs, or engaging exhibits that highlight Massachusetts' important role in the American Revolution and celebrate the 250th anniversary. So they're looking for anything that connects to historic themes of revolution, independence, or celebrates the significant firsts in Massachusetts history that make the state special. And the state is offering grants.
That sounds great. And it's probably in my town inbox as well. And I just didn't look the same.
Oh, it's not from the town. It's not
Okay.
from the town.
No, from the state, you mean, but yeah. No, that's great. Thank you. Can you forward that to me?
Sure.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I think, again, I just talked to Norm about this, the fellow in Northborough. And so I said, let me reach out to Tricentennial and see if they have any interest. And again, without adding, I want it to be more of an opportunity than just another burden for you, because I know you're doing a lot of things. So, and I'd leave it at that for now. You guys can discuss internally and get back to me.
Any other comments or questions? I have a comment, but I'm gonna, but Jim, Andrew?
I was just gonna say, we haven't had a chance to talk about it at historical, because Kevin just unearthed this, which is a really terrific opportunity. I think us participating in it, my take on it would be a great idea, to the degree of supporting it to a portion. If there's some activities that can get pulled together for this revolutionary recognition, we would appear maybe at a booth, just like at Heritage Day. Our whole approach, strategy here was to kind of build to a very strong Tricentennial year in 2027. I see this as maybe a event in that series where we're part of it, not trying to take center stage, but just in support of what historical is able to do. And it just sort of builds awareness and adds one more, brick on the wall, so to speak.
Hey, Andrew, anything? When you spoke, to me, the magic words, the key words there were the superintendent of schools. And if you're concerned about adding to, a load onto this committee, I would suggest that what you're proposing, what's being proposed, not you, but what's being talked about, would add a load onto the school. School has an opportunity here. Schools have an opportunity to join and make it better. And so the way I've hoped to look at this since the beginning was that we're going to create an opportunity for organizations, schools, and everything. But it's the schools and the organizations that we would be leaning on to do the work and produce a product that only they can produce. So that's, to me, that was interesting that Norm went to school.
Right.
Schools. There's a lot of horsepower there.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's a very good point. And so maybe we can just, you and I can stay in touch and the two groups can sort of brainstorm ways to I see where you're going with this, is to put, harness the power of all those students and the educators to get them interested in this as a project. And
Yeah.
not make life easier for all of us, but you're right. I think that distribute that, but the pull coming from students and educators,
Yeah, they
with our help.
The corporations, the businesses, the small and large, they do things a certain way, but the schools are unique. They can do it special and it makes it fun.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity, but I do see that, a group like the Historic Commission or something to spearhead that and get the school involved, like, come up with the curriculum or, a proposal of a curriculum that a certain grade level could do. And then, you do the dirty work, getting funding on it through a grant or something to provide the extra funds needed to get that done. Right. I don't see that a school is going to want to, that's kind of the pushback I got a little bit of just, trying to reach out to them with Tricentennial and other things that they don't want to take on more burdens necessarily. But if you can give them the great idea and kind of organize it, curriculum it, and, put it in front of them, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I must admit, I don't anticipate, I don't want to shut up after this, but I don't anticipate Southborough at this point likely to do for the 2026 great deal of parades and because again, I as I explained to Norm, I said all that energy really and the money is really going toward the Tricentennial, which is a very unique, of course, to Southborough event. And so you don't want to do anything that's going to kind of diminish or steal your thunder or steal your funding or underwriting or any of that. It's got to all be directed toward what you folks are doing. And that I'm personally in, that's my orientation and thinking, is that I'm 100% behind what you're trying to accomplish. And I view this as, again, an opportunity to maybe sort of bolster or generate more support for what you're after. So anything that we do, I think will be, I conceive of it as subordinate to the Tricentennial efforts.
Thank you for
That's
coming.
all I got.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We'll see where it takes us.
Right. Can I go home and eat dinner now?
Yeah, we're gonna keep moving.
Enjoy.
Okay, next
Good to
item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes, June 20th, 24. We'll entertain a motion to approve them as written.
So moved.
Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? Do you have anything to do with the writing of those?
I don't remember if I did these or if you have to go back.
It was signed by Katie.
Really? I looked, I didn't see it.
I didn't see a typo.
Nothing.
Yeah, check mark.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
West, yeah.
Aye.
That's Fioria. Andrew?
Did we get Andrew?
Bennington, I, sorry, was muted.
Okay. the next set of meeting minutes is July 10th. That was the joint meeting with the select board. We'll entertain a motion to approve those as written.
Motion.
Motion's been made
Second,
and seconded. Any discussion? Once again. Good. Hearing none, all in favor, Morris? Aye.
Blaschke, aye.
Dennington, I.
Aye.
Prince Fiore, aye.
Okay, we're all caught up with the minutes. The next item on the agenda is to review updated results of the Google survey. Who's got this?
I don't think we have an updated
Yeah.
results.
No.
I actually asked Katie about that today.
Yeah,
However, on that topic. I was talking to Ginny and we were planning to do another push out of the survey. With an emphasis on the volunteer sign up. I did get back to Katie when I went to put it out, push it out on Facebook. It's coming up with the old picture, the black and white picture of the
Flag.
townhouse with the swag
Bunting.
flag,
Bunting,
the
yeah.
bunting. And she put in the logo. I had asked her about that a couple of weeks ago. She put in the logo on the survey, but I want it to read that way when it's pushed out on social media, that it's showing the logo. So I didn't want to do that until she had a chance to update that, and I didn't send it to her until like 3 o'clock this afternoon. I was also gonna look into setting up an Instagram account so that we can, push them out both at the same time, Facebook and Instagram.
Everyone cool with that?
Who would do the Instagram administration?
Well, my intention was you just do something through Meta or Hootsuite that whenever you post something on Facebook, it just posts it to Instagram.
And is it vice versa? If you post on Insta?
I believe it can be set up that way, as long as you're working within the same account.
Okay.
Yeah.
And administrative wise, are there multiple people?
Well, you're an admin on
Right.
Facebook, I'm an admin on the Facebook, so I would assume we'd keep it the same, and Katie. So I assume we would keep it the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's what's going to happen. And who among us is going to see that to its finish, to its launch?
Well, I sent Katie just, as soon as she changes the look for the feed of the survey, I'm gonna put it out on social media again. And then, we have talked about sending out another email. And I have not written that. I was hoping to kind of take Jim's PR thing and, ramp it up, but really emphasize the call to action of volunteerism on it. And I haven't done that.
So there's two things then that you would hope to get done.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I already did some social media posts in the last week on Facebook. So, yes, ramp it up to potentially include Instagram. To push out the survey on both, again, once Katie has a chance to update that. And to do another email through MailChimp that emphasizes the volunteerism.
Which would kind of bounce off of Jim's draft.
Yeah, but with more of a just direct call to action
Yeah.
on, psyching people up for getting involved in it. Yeah,
Okay. All right, so 3 things.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anything else on that one? Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss the structure of future subcommittees. Fundraising. Now, we have in our packet a draft. Welcome Tricentennial Fundraising Committee. And I think Jenny, we put this together.
Mhm.
And throughout this draft is the word subcommittee. Fundraising subcommittee. Oh, I'm sorry, fundraising committee. So we need to, and
I'm gonna change that to fundraising volunteers.
Why? It can be a fundraising committee. What, you were gonna talk to town council about this. Do we need? can we-
Vanessa and I discussed this, and then she launched a request to town council. And we haven't heard back yet.
No, I need to follow on that with him tomorrow.
We
we-
did already go through this with pretty thoroughly with Jim Haggerty
Yeah. But it
about what
seems,
the difference is. I've also discussed it with Kathy Cook.
yeah, it seems to conflict with other guidance that I think Vanessa and I have had over the years regarding this, so we just want to make sure that we're using the right words, and that's why the word draft is on this. So, if we can get beyond that part, and if you want to take us through this, Ginny, and update
Sure,
the committee and the public.
sure. First of all, I just want to say that the committee is a group of volunteers who are a stellar group, including Karen over here. And this was an introduction just to kind of formalize that we had a commitment from everybody. I won't go through, unless you want me to go through the topics of discussion. What I do is
No,
I have a
however you wanna do
summary, I have a summary that I would be happy to read.
Yeah, sure. However you want
Okay, it is,
it. Is that okay with everybody? We'll do a summary and so.
so
Okay.
this is, this summary is in the order of the topics of discussion. Jim said we are like any other fundraising committee, Friends of the Library, Friends of Southborough Youth Commission. And under the 501c3, we can operate outside the public meeting law. We can use our personal emails and text to communicate, hold our meetings anywhere, and members of the Tricentennial Committee can attend to discuss fundraising, but not other business of the committee. He suggested we not use town money. For example, the 30,000 that we already attained. For items larger than 10,000, the bidding approval process is brutal. I mentioned our goal was not to take the money from the town when it becomes available in July of 2025, as we hope to exceed our fundraising goal of 350,000 through corporate and private sponsorships. Per the draft sponsorship package, we discussed a goal for 2 to 3 premier sponsorships at $100,000 each. We discussed approaching some of our successful neighbors, Ken's Food. Oh yeah, okay. And we all plan to put our thinking caps on about potential donors. That was sort of where we ended that there. We need to come up with sponsorship levels, and our action items for our next meeting is coming up. I kind of put a halt on actually having another meeting because you were in the process of reaching out to town council, and I decided to just hold off until we get clarification. Okay, so, but we are coming up with what we feel are good, topics of sponsorship packages. So, they'll be at different levels, and we're all gonna come up with some names. We discussed that we need to submit our suggestions before our next meeting. We discussed that members of the Tricentennial Committee will be attending the select board meeting on July 10th, as we did, and introducing the ideas of the $300 engraved brick. And we went to DPW, and that's going to be another topic that we're going to discuss because there is a little bit of a glitch there. Patty can go into that in more detail. We talked about the Tricentennial Committee coming up with marketing content blurbs about the Tricentennial year-long celebration for the website that would be suitable for the sponsorship package. And we wanted to get that on the agenda, but Patty and I actually have been talking a little bit about having something like a one-page introduction to what the committee is and our request for volunteers ready for Heritage Day.
Yeah.
And working on Kate has access to local businesses, so we can identify and decide what levels we will approach them to sponsor. So we're not going after, major corporations with our whole list of package, they will have like, 2 options of where they could donate. And we're all gonna identify at the different levels what we think these people are capable of. For an example, we're gonna customize for each donor. We might go into a business with a $50,000 option or a $25,000 option. They're not gonna give us a brick. So, so that'll be something that the fundraising committee discusses and strategizes on. We talked about the timeline to do a soft kickoff. At Heritage Day, possibly a table at Southborough Summer Nights, but we're just not sure we're gonna be ready for that. That's coming right up in 3 weeks. We would need to discuss that. We talked about the need for a Venmo account so people can purchase items easily at Heritage Day. Maybe setting up an account at one of the local banks that we want as sponsors. And the need for donation tracking. And indicate who committed what, the amount committed, when funds were received, when future payments were due. And we talked about maybe potentially having large donors break up their payments over a couple of years. Actually, somebody mentioned the idea that we wanted to have the recreation department close the town fields to sporting events during the day of a major event like the parade, so there's no conflicts there. We discussed meeting once a month, and that's sort of what we did. We just kind of introduced everybody and got excited about what's to come.
Excellent. Excellent. I want to go back to, before we get into the brick, because when we get into the brick, that might get, a lot of words. So the feedback, the guidance from town council, when that comes, hopefully soon, Vanessa will let us know and share that with us. And then based on that, if that conflicts with what town clerk said, then we got to get that cleared up. So we get clear written guidance on how to proceed. If it doesn't, if it's clear written guidance, then we can launch and proceed with whatever we're allowed to do. And so if that comes this week, next week, then again, some appropriate people, we may have to have another meeting where we can set in motion what we need or want to do at Heritage Day. Now, we talked a little while ago about a 10 by 20 or a 10 by 10 tent or booth. So that's easy to visualize. And then a table, probably inside that tent or 10 by 10. That's easy to visualize. And then maybe some people in there, right? And then what are we gonna do? What are those people gonna do? What are they gonna
Some
have?
ideas. Yeah,
Okay,
we have some ideas.
so I know at our previous meetings, we talked about, maybe making T-shirts or logos or other things. And unless those are free, unless those, the leprechauns come and donate them, then we're gonna have to spend some money to get those things. And I'm glad you said that, because now I want this, you could say it, but to make sure we get those things, what we want on time, so that we don't have an empty booth with somebody in there doing them.
We have some ideas.
Okay, so let's go back to the Talaman Town Council guidance. When we get that, you know what? I think let's leave that idea of another meeting open until after we hear the ideas and what the timeline is on those.
But you're talking two different things. You're talking the fundraising committee, which is a separate entity. And then you're talking, how do we prepare for Heritage Day?
How do we spend the money too?
So I'm less worried about spending the money. That, I mean, I think that you need to resolve the issue with the your questions with the fundraising committee. So that can proceed.
So I just have a logistical question. Do you anticipate selling anything at Heritage Day?
We were hoping to sell the bricks.
Okay, so that would be, I'm thinking about, as
Or
Mr.
accept,
Dawn was pointing
accept
out.
donations. or-
Okay, but not selling a product.
Why,
Right.
is that an issue with?
I'm just thinking,
Selling product.
how do we pay for that product? Because we can't touch the money in the warrant article. So would that come from a potential donation?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay,
yes,
Okay.
we have that in
okay.
thought.
I just want to make sure that was in that column and not
Correct,
tied to the warrant article.
yes.
Okay,
No,
And,
no, no.
and this is where, the people like you guys who, are experts in the private sector, in private sector money. And then you have people like Vanessa and I, who have, years of experience with public money. And in this case, unless I'm wrong, we're taking private money, putting it into an account, which is legal. And then somehow we're taking that private money and we're spending it on something that becomes a public property. So we have to make sure that we properly spend the private money and we know what the finished product is and who's going to own it, who's going to install it, who's going to wear it, who's going to move it. And at what point does it become public property? Private money transitioning into public funds.
but that's
What did
down
you
the
say,
line, I
transition?
think.
Well,
Like the maintenance in the end, it's maintained by, DPW or facilities or
what is
someone else.
maintained by?
The bricks, for example.
Mhm.
But, I think that's down the line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the 501(c) or C3 rather, entity separate enough with the charter that allows it to accept donations, to make purchases, to pretty much operate as a private entity outside of the public domain? Isn't that how that
Yes.
works? Okay,
Yes,
so Don, is there a concern somehow about the intermingling here if it operates on its own?
Oh, a simple example, I guess, is the brick. You're gonna take that money, private money, you're gonna buy the bricks, truckload of bricks shows up somewhere in the town of South. Where do the bricks get delivered and to who? And then once they're delivered, where do they get installed and by who?
but that's part
And
of,
then once they're installed, who is responsible for the maintenance? I mean, if
Well,
let somebody.
who's responsible for the plaza maintenance right now? DPW. I don't see why that would change.
I agree. Yeah.
In regard to getting them. I mean, what Ginny and I were talking about is we had really very thorough discussions with Westboro when they were planning or the effects of their planning their celebration. And I mean, they exceptionally helpful. And one of the things that they kind of impressed, which I really loved, was creating this paper trail. So for example, if we are purchasing these bricks, the fundraising committee is raising money. The money is going into the account that Kathy's already set up for the 501(c)(3). She put in $100 in her own money and the account is established. Now, whether we use that same one for the Venmo or not, I mean, that's, beyond my education. But you create a paper trail. We recommend how that money would be spent. So we have a purchase order that says we want to spend X amount of money to buy 100 bricks. And that goes to the board of that 501c3, who approves it and pays it.
I'm with you. Now the truckload of bricks comes somewhere into the town of South. Are
So
those public bricks or private?
Could you mind if I ask Karen how they handled it at the community house?
I don't know about the finances, but we just had a booth at Heritage Day. Right. And people bought bricks. They even actually gave cash to B and Betty were sitting there.
Yeah.
Your little B and Betty under the fence. Hey, my bricks. And so they either gave checks or cash. And then we order them through a website called Bricks R Us. And then I believe John, or Ray, who helps with like the president of the Historic Community House or the Southborough Village Society, he had the landscaper, I think, that takes care of the property, do the installation.
so are we off of the fundraising and onto the bricks issue?
No, I think Jim asked the question why I have a concern, and I just want to. It's my understanding that donors, it's their money, it's private money. It goes into that
But they
501c3.
give private money for the,
Yes, I understand. But we're going to have an item, a thing. Is that still privately owned, or at some point does it transition to owned by the town itself?
Well, if there was a monument that we erected, that we purchased through fundraising efforts, and we put it in the town, who would take care of it?
If it were on public property, then the town would be responsible for maintaining it.
There's probably several different ways to do it. I just want to make sure that there's a clear path between private money and something becoming public with that money. There's a clear path.
well, I think that people, if they're donating to a tricentennial campaign for Southborough, I think they're anticipating that that money is going to be spent by this committee or, under the direction of this committee for the benefit of the public of Southborough. I mean, if you need to have that in writing in the contract when somebody makes a donation, that's fine. But I'm having a hard time understanding what, I think that's the assumption when they're making these sponsorship donations or major donations or minor donations, that they're donating it to how this committee wants to spend that money.
Sometimes nonprofits, I've seen, when somebody makes a donation, they just issue the donor a letter saying, thank you, here's what you've done. We're gonna maybe state one line about what we use it for. Maybe down to your point, there has to be a gift back to the town from the nonprofit to say the DPW or something like that. And these are probably just mechanical details about how it gets done, but it probably just needs to be papered over with respect to acknowledgement to the donor and some form of maybe a letter between us and DPW saying, yes, we will accept these, we'll install them. If there's a fee associated with that we have to pay for out of donations, maybe that's a part of it, but basically something in simple writing between us and DPW that says how we do it and the fact that they're going to take over the maintenance going forward. Wouldn't that cover it?
Yeah. Those are the magic words that I wanted to hear. That there's a clear path of the transition between private money and a public thing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be DPW, maybe with the bricks it is, but it could be something else where it's another department in the town. But yeah, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to bring this out to make sure that we have a clear path for the private money to be received and spent and result in something that I guess would become public property. Okay, thank you. So back to the fundraising. Are we done with that? The next step is to hear from town council.
Do you suggest that I not meet with the volunteers?
No, I think it should keep moving unless we're told otherwise. Go ahead, Jim.
was gonna say, when we first put the framework together, and there was a kind of a list of donation, sponsor recognitions levels and all that. And, I summarized it at one point in kind of a table where you could see that at this level you get these 5 benefits, and you go up a level you get these 6, and so on. It was a way to do that. I was going to suggest that when we present this to people, we go back to a table format just so they can see a little more easily what you get, other than reading through and trying to figure out, did I get that in this next step or not? That's part one. But more to the point, thinking about this from a budgeting point of view, it's great to have the goal for 350. Have you yet broken down a target of how much you want to collect from each type of entity, so that there's I won't say realistic, but a goal of this many corporate sponsors and this many sponsors at various levels, this many citizens, and so on? Because that was also part of that spreadsheet that I put together, that estimated based on 5 of these and 6 of those and 7 of those, you could get to a bottom line. This is a bigger number than we originally talked about. I think it's great, but my question is, have we looked at how we're going to get to 350 in terms of what are the component parts of that budget?
That is something that the fundraising volunteers will absolutely evaluate, look at, and then bring to the board.
Excellent.
Our
Yeah.
suggestions. 100%, Jim.
Good question,
Yep.
Jim.
Okay.
And good direction, Ben. Yeah. No, I think if I don't know, Ben, in the absence of, these are the word committee or subcommittee or whatever. It's all draft right now. But the mission of this group is the fundraising, and it's open to the public. Everything you're doing. That's why you made these notes. People can come and ask, or they can listen tonight to your summary, so that everything is out there. And then we'll as we go along, and I guess a parallel route, you continue with the mission of putting together the fundraising, and the parallel route would be to have the right terms used in going forward.
Sounds good.
I know that Jim has a hard stop at 8 o'clock tonight. Did you want to talk about the press release that he drafted while he's still here?
Yeah, let's jump on that.
I don't think that was in the printed packet.
No.
I can bring it up on the screen.
Is it this one here?
Oh, okay, yes, was it? Maybe it was, I'm sorry. I had sent Jim a couple of suggested edits today.
And I replied that they look fine. They were just good clarifications.
So take us through it sentence by sentence for the revisions. You guys have this?
Yes. Let me just open that.
But this
That logo.
I'll,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll just kind of describe it. This is classic press release format. We've got a headline, a subhead. You indicate when it's available. If it's not going out today, you put a date on it. And I saw it as, ideally an announcement from the select board. Probably that made the most sense to me. We can change that if you like, but having the select board saying our town is doing this and we've got a committee and these are the activities, here's the volunteers we want, that all seemed to flow in terms of the purpose. So that's how I set out doing this, just basically introduced it as an announcement from the select board. And then the next paragraph is how we formed the Tricentennial Committee starting back in November, etc. Mentioned the survey that we've done. We took a look at nearby towns, similar towns, to get a sense of what they did. I didn't say anything about budgets, but here just to say what the most popular events were and so on. Listed a few typical things like the historic home tours and golf tournaments and barbecue picnics and so on. Then classically, you have a quote from a primary person from the sponsoring organization. So I put Andrew in there, and then mention the kickoff. Then next section is a whole thing about the fundraising. We can edit this or wordsmith this as you like, but that was the idea. Here we put a quote from Don saying that's what we're doing. We've got a volunteer team of fundraisers, and then finally, at the very end, that we're looking for help with this whole project. And if we wanted to, and one thing I didn't put in here, if we wanted to add, based on the survey of residents, we've had X, 45 people already come forward to express interest in participating or whatever, that would be a welcome addition, I think. So that was the overall approach, classic, press release structure of, headline, subhead, announcement by the sponsoring entity, and then details as appropriate.
So, thanks, Jim. Some of the things I just added was, updating Andrew's title now that he, has moved back to his vice chair slot.
Could you say vice chair and member of the Tricentennial
Yeah.
Committee?
Yeah,
Like that.
Give him a little more touch.
and then, after Heritage Day celebration, I just put in parentheses, which takes place on Monday, October 14th.
Good.
If you're a new resident, you might not realize that. And then,
Where was that?
in the last paragraph on the first page, which takes place on Monday, October 14th, 2024. Then I added, I wasn't sure about the parade. In Jim's first draft, it said, May, July parade, but we haven't really settled on the structure of the parade or the time, so I just changed that to organize, a large parade. And then in the next paragraph on volunteers welcomed, I added, in particular, we are seeking a resident who is a veteran, which is specified in the committee charge. And then under those interested in assisting, can contact myself, and we could certainly add, the committee email or the chair's email. And in the bottom, I added the websites for the committee page on the town website and a link to the Facebook page.
You need to send that to us.
Yes, yes.
So a couple of things I noticed, and I mentioned this in my reply, I don't know if these links at the bottom are active, but we need to make sure that when the draft is finished,
Yeah.
out of edit mode, that you can click on them and go somewhere. The other thing that's still open, top of the second page, I put a question mark after how many levels of participation, because I didn't know if
Right.
we were 3,
What
4,
would
5.
you say, Judy, about that?
I have it as 1, 2, 3,
Including the bricks, I saw 7.
7.
Well, feel free to change it as appropriate.
Okay.
Do you have to say 7? Can you say multiple or
There are
various?
various levels,
Various levels.
Yeah.
multiple levels, or
Various levels of participation are planned with commensurate recognition and benefits.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, various, because we don't want big sponsors. We don't want the little ones.
There was another question mark on. Oh, the 501c3. Where did we land on that? Is it Southborough 300?
Oh, Friends of the Southborough 300, isn't it? Is it?
I think talk about Friends of,
Yeah.
at the meeting. Just in line with everything else in town, Friends of Library, Friends of.
So we just have to insert
I don't-
that.
Yeah, I don't
And I
know if it's
couldn't remember the final
Tricentennial or
language.
Friends of Southborough 300.
Hold on.
Is anything been? It would just.
It might actually be in the minutes.
Let's see what-
You don't see it here, but I have it in
Yeah,
an
okay, so
email
my
from
email to
Kathy.
Kathy was, her branding is Southborough 300, so I think we may want Friends of Southborough 300 or
Okay.
something similar.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But we can confirm that with her.
So who did you want to list under for more information, press only? mean, I'm happy to put my info in there and you want to,
Wait, you
would you like
say,
the chair or a board member to be listed there?
you were gonna put the Southborough 300 at southboroughma.com, right? As an email,
Right.
you in that?
Right. So
I
that
mean,
was, that
Why
was
don't you funnel it, right? So like,
come to me and then
Yeah.
go out to.
and
the
then
committee.
if you decide somebody else
Okay.
can better answer that question, forward it to somebody.
Okay,
Is that cool?
That's all fine. The PR stuff here is classic, release format. That doesn't have to be here
Right.
at all.
yeah.
Some email or whatever for more information.
Or we can take that section out, Jim, because just above we say those interested in assisting Southborough 300.
Yeah.
Contact me and then I can funnel it through to the whole committee.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah. Take it out. That's fine.
okay. That saves some space there too. And then if we do set up that Instagram account, Patty, we'll just put the link right
I'll
in
look into
there.
that tomorrow.
We good with this?
I think so. So
Oh,
I'll
so
send, the updated version out to the committee so you can see the final language.
Yeah,
And then it'll go when? What's the target date to ship it?
So did you change this quote that says including donations that are recognized with engraved bricks to be placed at a monument in Heritage Park? Can you just delete at a monument
yeah.
with engraved bricks to be placed?
You know what?
in
I'm
Heritage
sorry.
Park?
I did take that out
Okay,
because there's no monument there.
right,
It's, it's at Heritage Park.
take that out.
you're
So
gonna
right now
send the
that
revised
sentence
version.
says, including donations that are recognized with engraved bricks to be placed in Heritage Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that one.
good for now?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. So, the parade, between Brian, the veterans agent, and Travis, we have the makings of, two very experienced people.
Is it weird that Zipper wasn't interested?
I thought he was not interested in being on the committee. He thought he would
Yes,
just.
he doesn't have the ability to
Yeah.
attend our committee meetings,
Right.
so that's why he said, I will help in any other way, but I can't physically be here on the nights. of the meeting."
So we still need that, parade, lead. We need the lead person on the parade. But it just became much easier for that person, it would seem, because of, Travis.
Maybe that was what Patty was alluding to, was finding out who has done it in the past, thinking, well, let's get our most experienced person on board, and apparently.
We can just reach out to somebody at Outset Recreation to get that information.
What information?
Who has in the past organized, although Vanessa says it wasn't really anybody, organized
Was more of a
the
veterans.
parade.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, somebody reaches out to
The head of the Girl Scouts.
the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scout. I mean, I can't see that just
I
being.
assume it had to be a staff person at Recreation.
Right. I
It
mean,
used to be
Denise Meyer,
like, she would reach out to the Girl Scouts and we'd say
Right.
how many people.
who still, and she still works part-time at Recreation and helps sporadically throughout the year. Her hours will fluctuate, but works a lot on special events.
Mhm.
So I think it probably was her.
okay,
So how do we brainstorm ideas on who would be?
I think we need to just do an outreach push to find somebody that has some kind of experience. If we don't know anybody, has some experience and is willing to donate some time.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I think
Steve-
Travis, will be a real asset, to the committee when it comes to that, but I think you'll also need
Oh, you need
a resident who's
Yes,
engaged in
yes.
that.
Absolutely.
ideally somebody with experience in coordinating something like that. Maybe not at this level, but I mean, when we met with Westboro, it was a little bit overwhelming with what they did in planning the parade. There's so much
They had a
logistics.
huge parade.
Like floats and.
Oh,
Yeah, they had a huge
They had-
parade.
They had the bands, the what do you call them, horses?
Oh, they had the
Clydesdales,
Clydesdales,
they
they
had-
had the stilt walkers, they had, like, they fed it in from 7 different
Staging areas.
staging areas.
Did they enlist like all the school bands? We trying to do?
Yes.
Oh, you're going up a level. You're actually
Oh,
going
yeah,
we
they had like the
expensive bands, not,
Yeah,
but
Shriners.
Shriners, they,
yes.
so we're trying to make this a once in a lifetime statement parade.
But
There's
it's
just
not
a-
gonna be, it's not gonna be up to that level because we just.
You don't have the road.
We just
Yeah,
don't have the
exactly.
road space,
Yeah.
the real estate. So. I
So
mean,
what do-
maybe, is it definitely gonna be our signature event, because it's kind of scary to think that we,
Half-mile long parade.
yeah, and it's a lot that goes into it.
Well,
a lot of
one
money.
thing I did today was reach out to our contact at, the Mass Department of Transportation to ask about, okay, what permission do we need to close Route 85 or Route
Yeah.
30, et cetera. What's the protocol for that? And I mean, I think that will help, govern the decision about the route, because the parade route right now is so tiny.
Yeah.
Where would there be a staging area? Where does that connect to, the end of the parade and so forth? So
I
I'm
mean, the
just waiting to
reason
get a
that we-
response about the state roads first.
that was a great start, because the reality is, we went by what so many other towns did. From all the ones that we broke up and researched, the parade was a signature event. That was
But
it.
maybe that's not feasible for us.
It might,
And
it might not be
that's
a reality.
the flexibility we need to look, how we have to look at this. It should be great, as great as we can get it. But
yeah.
don't be stuck on it being the big boy,
Right,
the big girl.
right.
Although I've already had people like say, we wanna do a float.
So that, I mean, Holliston, how big is Holliston? They
Got a big downtown.
They have a wide
Yeah.
Main
they
Street.
have a wide Main street, yeah. Don't have to worry about turning.
I think there are ways to lengthen our small route right now, but maybe not substantially. So. I think, hopefully we'll hear back from DOT.
Most anything will be. Maybe you don't have to blink your eyes.
So why don't we try, again, between now and our next meeting, is for each of us to try to reach out. I've been reaching out since last summer. Talked to several people who have run parades. And when I've asked them to do it, they said absolutely not. So.
It's funny, the Westboro person was so enthusiastic, and she was like, she had put so much into it. She said, I'll help you, I'll help you. But,
Yeah. So is that the way to go? Is we just keep trying until our next meeting? And put a little.
Well, we can put it out on social media that is
We
what
do a
we're
special blast
specifically
just
looking
about that.
for.
the parade
Yeah.
coordinator.
We could, I mean, I can write up a quick little thing to get Beth to put on my southborough.com, just specifically looking for,
Parade coordinator.
parade coordinator. That's such a good title.
You wanna be a PC, a parade coordinator?
There we go. Give them a big title.
Must be able to walk on stilts. Okay. Let's move on. Financials. Did we cover that
I
already?
think we did, yeah.
Other items, any other items? We always leave that one in.
Well, so I did reach out to somebody who is a lifelong Southborough resident and is got a degree in the marketing and communications and media to see if they would be interested in maybe spearheading. Ready? And, but I just don't know how we're going about putting that together. Like, do I introduce, I don't know how we're soliciting.
I think one question that I've been thinking about lately is regarding marketing and, items like I don't know, a Christmas ornament or something.
Right.
Is that kind of material, T-shirts, bumper stickers, that kind of stuff? Is that something, this committee wants to have a subcommittee to design those things and maybe that, of dovetails into, responsibilities on social media or.
It does.
Is that a subcommittee here?
Well, we talked about it as being a subcommittee. For example, let's just say we're doing a gala. Who's gonna do the invitation?
Right.
Who's gonna do, anything media related? Print media, not just social media.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want a subcommittee that can sort of
Bridge all of that.
for all the different
Cause it
And
would touch
that's-
every other event.
that?
So that person,
Well, so I just felt I should bring it up to the board. How do we handle, like, do we invite them to talk to us or?
I could be wrong with this, but because you guys are more experts in fundraising and all that than I am, I have a little bit. Invite that person to your next.
It's not a fundraising. She's talking about.
A media person.
Just me.
Media communications,
Communications.
I mean, she would obviously, for example, have a say in our committee in terms of what we put out for media when we put together the sponsorship package.
So this person's familiar with that type of.
They have a marketing background. I mean, I don't know that they have a, graphic design background.
Well, we already have.
Well, and I am interested in working on that aspect of the stuff, communications, yes.
So, why don't you invite the person
Okay,
and if that person is willing to come to our next meeting, then that'll be our I guess
would you like to meet this person? Can I introduce you?
I don't, maybe just invite her to anyone.
Okay.
okay with you guys?
Do you want a resume?
No, you're the person.
Okay. Sounds good.
If you think the person is a square peg and square hole, and we have a square hole to fill, well now let's meet this person.
Okay, if I can get them to the next meeting, I will. If not, we.
Sure.
Yeah. Put it on the agenda for.
Okay.
Is it okay if I talk about the next meeting? Are
We should
special
schedule that
matters?
while Jim's still here.
Yeah,
You're talking about the next meeting.
yeah, the reason I wanted to talk about it is we have somebody, is it okay if I do other matters properly before the committee?
Do we want to talk about the next meeting first? Or?
No, that's a part
I
of
think
what
it
I'm,
ties to that.
it
Okay.
does tie.
Yeah.
So I received an email, I'm just gonna read it, it's not too long. My name is Keen Southard, and I spent 16 out of the first 17 years of my life in Southborough. Since then, I have built a career as a composer of classical music, completed my PhD at Eastman School of Music in 2022. I'd heard that Southborough has started planning celebrations for the town's Tricentennial in 2027 and was thinking how I'd love to celebrate my hometown by composing a new work for these celebrations. I mentioned this idea to my friend Joe Cruciani, who still lives in Southborough, and he told me he talked to you about it and you were interested in the idea. So I thought I'd reach out to you and the committee. I am envisioning composing a large-scale work for orchestra and/or chorus that celebrates and explores the history of the town and provides the opportunity for residents and others to take part in playing and/or singing, and of course, listening to I have read Nick Noble's fascinating account of the history of the town in Fences of Stone, and perhaps could use that as a basis. As for further details, I'd be open to any ideas from the committee or others about what direction this could take. If you are interested in hearing some of my music, and he sends me links to some of the compositions that he's done. And so I got back to him and invited him to Zoom meeting. He's in Vermont, so it wouldn't be convenient for him to come. But he said that would work great. I'll be away August 9 through 11 and 15 through 17. But other than that, I'm flexible and can make it work. So I thought if we could get him to participate in our next meeting, maybe we can plan around those dates. It's not available.
Thank you. What do you think?
I think that's great.
Pick a day.
So we've been meeting, I think, on the second or third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday, I believe it was.
Should be the 18th.
Of August,
The
I
third,
had
the
the Wednesday,
21st?
it's the 21st.
Oh, wait, am I looking at September? Yes, looking at September. 21st.
So I won't be here that night, but I can certainly have someone else serve as your Zoom host.
Did you say September 21st? That's a Saturday,
August.
August 20th.
August 21st, James?
I'm gonna be on vacation then.
Okay,
What was this thing? Not,
he's not available 15 through 17, so could we do the 14th maybe?
I know I'm out the weeks of the 12th and the 19th, but that shouldn't necessarily preclude organizing a meeting.
Wednesday, the 14th could work for me.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Jim could do the 14th. The only thing I wanted to mention about the 14th is the Worcester Red Sox picks has community nights all throughout the summer, and the 14th is Southborough night.
Oh, okay.
What about the Monday, the 12th?
That's within the-
that's just like a week or so away. I'm not sure that gives us enough time to do anything.
How about the 19th? Oh, you're away.
Uh,
26 too far.
When does school go back? 28th?
Well, Southborough Summer Nights is the 24th. Would they usually go back?
What about Tuesday, the 27th?
We may have a select board meeting that night,
Oh, right, it's.
so
Tuesday.
Andrew and I would be otherwise engaged.
Yeah.
But Jim mentioned Monday, the 26th. Is that an option?
It is for me.
Oh, I guess so.
It's
26th.
You good on that?
Yeah,
You
that can
good
work.
Monday, yeah.
You're good too, Andrew?
Yep, Monday the 26th.
Okay.
Unless we hear otherwise, it's here, Vanessa.
Yes, I can check right now if the room is available.
Okay, 26th.
Yeah, it's free.
I've got a couple more minutes before I go. Anything quick that we should attend to?
Well, we can either talk about the ideas that we have discussed for Heritage Day and pricing and whatnot on that, or we can talk more about this brick and the little stumbling brick we've hit. This stumbling block of the brick.
Well,
Your choice.
you guys continue. I've unfortunately got a hard stop at 8 here, so what I wanna do.
Don, what do you want?
I wanna do the brick. I was up at that Heritage Park and, there's, the bricks in that circle. And then there's pathways that are just, non-brick.
Yes.
So I was thinking we'd have a Tricentennial Trail. Leave the circle alone and have one of those things be the Tricentennial Trail.
Andrew, are you still there?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Okay. So I spoke to Bill Cundiff today.
Okay.
And because he reached out to VHB. VHB said that, they would advise against or whatever. And our thought was that it was going to be an actual landscape company that was going to do this installation. And I mentioned to him, what if we had a couple of hardscape landscape companies that could come and survey the situation and make a decision on whether it was feasible to replace them effectively. But going back to the working group meetings, my memory of that is that there was a real issue with pathways because they needed to be handicapped accessible. So
Yep.
I don't know that you could put a brick path in it or at it and still keep the same kind of handicapped accessibility. Now, Mr. Cundiff also mentioned to me that he hates that pathway and the stone dust that creates it because he said that the drainage isn't correct and
Okay.
that it drains downhill so that there's a pile of stone dust already accumulated at the entrance to that pathway at the library parking lot. So I wasn't remembering correctly whether there was a more impermeable solution that was supposed to happen there. I know that was discussed at one point, or whether that stone dust was seen as the permanent solution. Do you remember?
I'm trying
Folks,
to
I'm
remember.
take a night to, and I'll be on with you next time.
No, honestly, I
Actually,
don't
well,
have,
good
I remember there being a lot of discussion about this.
Yeah.
But it would seem that, like you're pointing out, there's some benefits to having the brick in terms of, probably maintenance, avoiding dust, blowing up in the air. I've seen the
Right.
issue you're talking about with
I
the
mean,
dust.
he
so-
kind of wanted the brick to be the entire walkways and
Yeah.
said that there shouldn't be any problem with handicapped accessibility with a
Okay.
brick walkway. But I
Yeah,
gotta go back to those meetings because I know it was discussed heavily.
okay. I would just talk to Bill about that. And I'm happy to do that if you'd like, or if you do that. If he thinks it's not gonna pose an issue in terms of handicapped accessibility. I know the concern that VHB had raised is if you go and you remove the bricks and then place them back, they won't settle in the same place and they'll be uneven. It'll cause a tripping hazard. But if you do the bricks for the walkway instead, then you could do them all at the same time where it's level.
So there's plenty of times that people redo walkways in plazas and brick patios and whatnot, and it's done
Mhm.
successfully. So not that I want to disagree with, the town paid engineer, but I proposed to Mr. Cundiff that we talk to a couple of people that are specifically in that hardscape business, have them look at that plaza and make a determination with the anticipated hope that that would be a donation on their part as
Okay.
a sponsor, that they would lift the bricks and replace it and do what would be necessary to not have it be a trip hazard and to make it viable.
Do you
I
know, have
think-
we heard back on that yet, or?
Bill said he didn't have a problem with that at all. He was like,
Okay.
yeah, if you want to have a couple of, professional companies look at it and give an opinion on that, he was like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Do you have any in mind, or?
I have a,
I have one in mind.
I have a
but
contact. My,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, okay. We have a couple of minds.
Yes.
Okay,
And this is, very common, in other communities, so, we can get a list of vendors very quick.
No, but we want
Yeah.
somebody that's local, and we have a couple of people that are local that have a lot of experience with hardscape
Yeah.
materials.
I think the other thing we should keep in mind is that, because as John was saying earlier, in the end, this becomes public property that, I think we have to just be mindful of the procurement laws and, what, we are required to do as far as collecting quotes from vendors and, documenting all of
But
that.
we're looking for it to be donated as part of a sponsorship plan.
Okay, if
the
it
work.
turns out to be donated in kind service, that's lovely.
I mean, that would
If we're paying for it, we need to
get quotes.
go through chapter 30B.
Right, got
Yes.
it.
I also impressed upon Mr. Bill, kind of the rationale for why we had really wanted it to be in that plaza.
Mhm.
That the location of the plaza was specific to, viewing the three entities that made Southborough a town back in 1727. And from, that position, you could see the mustard field and the meeting house and the burying ground. And to give that kind of precedence to sponsors that are contributing that kind of money, I think is more ideal than to line them down a side of a path going to a parking lot. In my humble,
What's in the middle of the circle now?
nothing, bricks,
Plain bricks,
bricks.
and it's called Heritage Park.
Yes.
So what you're proposing is to have these 300th anniversary tricentennial bricks in the center of the circle?
So part of what actually I brought this little brochure for you. So part of what this company can also do is something like this, which was part of the original discussion of that plaza, that there be some kind of a compass rose or, plaque or something in the middle. I did talk to Marguerite about it, and, she said that it was discussed and they moved forward because they had to
Get it done.
get it done. But yes, you could do something like this, and it can all be purchased from the same company
Where would the tricentennial bricks be?
around it. Here, look
Okay.
at where those
All right.
engraved bricks are around something
And
like
you know
that.
what,
Okay.
what's interesting is there's different sizes. For
Right.
different levels of sponsorship, and it still looks great.
Right. We're at a point in time, a few years out of 300. So if the emphasis for that part of the heritage part is the 300th, then wouldn't that make people think that it's the 300th part? I just know that, yeah, this is really important now to us. But in 10 years, something of greater importance or significance to the town, and we've got the 300th taking up that prime space.
No, we don't.
Are we that great? Is this celebration that great to take up that prime space?
Yes,
It's a question.
yes,
thank you.
I mean, it's Heritage Park and it's about our heritage.
It's the biggest birthday celebration of the town in 300 years. And heritage, I mean, what more is heritage if not, part of our heritage is that the town was incorporated 300 years ago.
What about if the center had some type of sculpture that had the time capsule under it?
Sure, all great ideas. I wanted to put that out there. I guess my years on the planning board where we don't think, not just today, but not 10 years from now, but 100 years. when we're building subdivisions and those type of things. So, maybe there'll be another. If this is what the people want, if there's no pushback, then fine.
I think that park is there for the duration and, the park is there for the duration and so if we did something with engraved bricks, they would be there for the duration.
That's my concern. That if something more important comes along, the prime space
The
is gone.
500th anniversary. So these say they have a lifetime warranty, but I'm not thinking 200 years, who knows what's gonna happen in 200 years.
Or even 100. Okay, I wanted to bring it up. I just wanted to be clear as to what we're. Because if we're selling these bricks, people should know where they're gonna be placed.
Yes, yeah, I think we should sell them until we sell this red space, solve the problem.
And then maybe even have a computer generated,
They'll do that.
that would show us the sample bricks and wherever it's decided.
And they will also create a map for you, so that if people wanna find their own brick, you can like list that on the web, have that on the website. People can do a QR code and then find their own brick and where the location is.
I think we have a find your own brick
It's like
day.
a whole thing, yeah.
But I do want to mention here that these ones that are different sizes could significantly lend themselves to higher sponsors. And, you know, getting into a prime position comes as a perk for a nice donation.
That's again, it's I guess not part of my DNA where we mix how much money you spend or have determines how big you are in bricks.
Placement.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think sponsorships is for?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if a
They're
sponsorship,
gonna want something.
right, yeah, but see, that's, to me, all the bricks should be same. But you can tell that it's
Don,
not,
looking at the bricks in front of the community house, you'll see a good example of this, how it's done
Yeah.
very nice.
but are they different sizes? I
No,
don't remember.
Well, that wasn't that was
Yeah,
just.
see, that's my point.
It's just an idea that Jenny is proposing based on, you know, some of the options that the manufacturer.
When you come up with a sponsorship package and you have to offer a different,
But we can offer them the logo, their logo on it
Sure.
instead of type, because that's costs, there's a little extra upcharge if they put,
a logo.
there's a logo on it.
Yeah, see where it takes us. You guys, bricks. This could be the greatest.
Well, if you're charging $300 a piece. Better.
Yeah. Anything else on the bricks?
Well, we wanna be able to sell them at that Heritage Day.
Yes,
So I propose that we put a Heritage Day discussion on the agenda for,
Definitely, yeah.
at that time, we can talk about the different ideas and Patty has prices on things that some giveaways.
Do you wanna just talk about that now, or you wanna leave it till next time? You
what-
had asked me last time to get prices on some giveaway, like banners, t-shirts, stickers.
no, let's do that now so that in August. We will, maybe at our next meeting, which is the end of August. We'll have already put in purchase orders.
Stickers. So that's the concept for the sticker. It has to be die cut.
Good enough size for a car.
Yeah, so these would be peel and stick.
Yeah, like a vinyl,
Yeah.
yeah, like a bumper
Did you wanna
sticker
see that?
material.
I think it's
Did you
nice.
see that, Andrew?
yes,
T-shirt, I did looked at polo shirts for Andrew. So t-shirts, you can do anything for like an all cotton shirt from, you know, like $7.50 up. You know, depending on the quality of the shirt and the number that you order and size breakdowns. If you do polo shirts, you're looking in the $20 range.
The logo, how is that? Is it sewn? Is it glued? Is it?
That's just a
Transfer.
transfer. That's not an embroidery. If you're looking at embroidery, first of all, you wouldn't do it on a t-shirt. You would do it on a polo shirt. And then I was, you know, just on you're not gonna have a huge quantity, but you're looking at more like $25 cost for that. So then if you're gonna sell it, there's not a lot of room for markup.
Are you proposing the gray too for,
I was
Insects.
just sticking it on there.
I didn't know.
I
if
mean,
it
you
should be a
can,
white
you know,
version and a
frankly,
gray version.
one of the, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. There's a company that, like Etsy shops use a lot, called Printfully, that's the name of it. And we can order a bunch direct, but then if you want to order one that's a V-neck that's pink with the logo on it, you can order that.
Oh.
You know,
How about tie-dye?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can set it up so that there's certain allowable sizes and colors and stuff, and then people can just go in and order it via Etsy. We set up an Etsy store.
Are we thinking that we're gonna sell t-shirts? Cause I know we talked about
Giving,
volunteers.
well, you were talking about
wearing them.
giving away these.
Yeah,
So these you're looking at with die cut, probably depending on the quantity, $1 a piece.
or if we went with larger.
You
quantities,
with the
50
die
cents.
cut, you're. Is that what I said?
Yeah, for 1,000, I think it's 50 cents.
I'll have to check on that, because I thought with that size, which is roughly 4x6. And the die cut, because this whole thing has to be printed, that we were looking close to like $1 a piece. What else? What was that? Oh, banners. Banners are fine if we need to do banners for the town or for booth or whatever. My price on the banners is about $1.20 square foot. So if you think of an 8-foot, you have a 10-foot tent, you know, do 8-foot banner that's, I don't know, 4 feet high, that's 32, so that's gonna be in the $45 range.
So if we're talking quantities. You said 100 of the,
You get better quantity breaks on this kind of stuff. On the banners, you're not gonna, I mean. how many
But we're
banners
talking
are you
like-
gonna print?
couple $1,000 would take care of the whole thing.
Oh,
And
and
we want
bags,
bags, loot
So
bags.
bags, I mean, you can do just the kind of like documents bag they're only 6 inches deep. I personally think those are worthless because you can't use them for groceries or anything. Those you can get really cheap for like, 80 cents, I think it was. If you want the kind of like cotton with the bottom and the gusset on it, you're looking at more like $1.50 each.
And we'd give
And-
those away too.
And they're usable.
Yeah.
Those are useful, right.
I have given away bags at Heritage Day and they go big because kids don't have stuff to carry everything in, you know? Parents gave them the $20, they go and they do this, and this. So. The bags, and Patty had a great idea about,
Oh, right, the
Maybe
game for the engagement, it's too bad Jim is left.
I know,
So, because we also want to encourage people to come into that booth at Heritage Day. And I've seen this game before where, you have, let's be simple here, you have the actual antique items, like a quill and a feather and an ink bottle. And then you have a piece of paper that has this on it with the word pen. And kids have to take the piece of paper and identify it with the antique on it. So a pen might not be that difficult, but if you're talking about like a toaster from 1700 and you're showing them a picture of an electric toaster, you know, it gets a little more involved. It's-
Something for engagement.
I've seen it done at like the farmer's market, at the History Center, Framingham History Center at the farmer's market in Framingham, and it's the kids and families are really engaged by it. You get like 10 different antique items and have them match to the pictures of what the current day thing looks like.
I also reached out to Skyrise Theater to see if we could get them involved in some way and maybe have somebody do some dress up, you know, at the booth
in Colonial.
in the
Yeah.
colonial, maybe impersonate one of our founding fathers and mothers.
Or have somebody dress up like a gangster from the 1927.
1927.
It's only 100 years.
So I'll report back if I hear back from them.
It's great. Yeah,
And if
So just
anybody has any
ways
other
to
booth
bring
ideas,
People into the booth to engage them while they're there and, you
Get them
know,
excited.
obviously sign up list for volunteers, sell the bricks, get people to donate $10, whatever.
have a guessing game or something.
so we agree on a number of the giveaways. And they're gone. Like the first 2 hours, they're gone. And people say, oh, my brother got one of those. Do you have another one? No, we're all out. And we find out that there's a great interest in them. So would we be able to make a second round of purchases
Of course.
and then maybe give those out of the schools, or give them out somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, you know, these are gonna. It's not like they're gonna be 25 cents a piece. So, you know, you have to decide how you wanna spend your money. Whether you just like. Constantly give them out to people, you know, order 5,000 or something, but, I mean, you know,
Or they
for
can-
Heritage Day, I mean, if we ordered 1,000 of these,
Anyway,
then October. They're gonna each day.
And we also don't want to order too many because then we find out that, you know, trash barrels have them in them and they
Well, you don't have
Got
to
it.
give them all out, you don't have to like beg people to take them, you know? But, you know, you're gonna buy them with the hope that you're gonna keep them for until 2027 and be using them as we go.
So, do you guys have a quantity in mind?
well, we thought it was a good price break at 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, I can get you, these were just, I was just looking at vendors I've used in the past, I mean, I can. If we're gonna definitely move forward with a couple of these things, I can get, you know, really specific pricing for this actual, you know, piece or something,
That's what I would recommend.
yeah.
Nothing's gonna change between now and then.
Right.
So let's get some definitive pricing. And when we get that, we would submit that to the 5013C group and have them approve a quantity times a number, which would add up to a total number. And hopefully by then there'll be enough money in the pot that they can approve it and we can go ahead and order.
Yeah.
We should maybe try to have all that lined up for an easy review and approval on the 26th.
That's fine.
That gives us 6
I mean,
weeks.
yeah.
Between our next meeting, Heritage Day.
Yeah, which is plenty of time to order any of these things I'm talking about.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. It'd be nice to get all that stuff done, not the last minute. And then like the tent and the games. Those are things that can be added on. At least we'll have something to either give away or to have people purchase. Someone good for that?
It does, yeah.
You did mention, Don, at the select board meeting that you wanted to have a vote on whether we were moving forward with the brick concept.
Yes.
I'm just reminding you.
So why don't we entertain a motion to move forward with the brick program or project?
Project.
Yeah, so for that, I think let's wait to see if we can get more information from the landscaping company they were talking about this basically, which is kind of like a second opinion about whether you could do it in the circular plaza without too much of a risk of there being uneven bricks. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the hope is that it moves forward somewhere. That's the ideal. But perhaps there is a second choice location.
Yeah.
So unless something unforeseen, the concept is what we were talking about with the selectmen July 10th. I agree with you, Andrew. There's no rush for but there should be, the record should show that this committee has voted officially to move ahead with a brick project. And whether we do that tonight or at the end of August, it's no big difference. So I agree with you. Well, let's wait.
Okay.
What else? We're done with the brick. Oh, we were done with the brick. Wait a minute. I'm gonna get to Bonnie in there. I just want to see where we are here. Kind of smoldering, not on the front burner yet, are these oral interviews and archival and exhibit materials. I think that some of that stuff will be moving more forward as we get closer to Heritage Day. So that somewhere within that booth, we would have a collection of either hard copy, ancient videos, or photos, or we would have a computer screen that would flash them on a record for real. But we'd have some materials to have people see and say, oh, look at that, that's before they built the reservoir. Pictures like that. Vacancy outreach. Andrew, you and I talked about that. I just, without mentioning the name, did that move?
Yeah, I haven't reached out yet, but I just asked someone I know for that person's contact information. So by our next meeting, it'll either happen or it won't happen.
Sure. Okay. I like the idea. I like that. I like that. Okay. Anything else, you guys? Let's go to Bonnie. Just saying hi.
Just stepping in, I have a question. Do we have a town flag?
Town flag.
It used to be right there.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, it's right there.
The reason I asked that is some of the town common a lot. And in the townhouse, and I've asked town employees if we've had if we have a town flag. And to their surprise, we do. I was wondering if there's any way to put that out for Heritage Day, so the citizens of this town are aware that we do in fact have a town flag. It's nowhere to be seen in the town common or anywhere else, unless you're at some.
Yeah, it's at the rural cemetery.
That's it, the only place it's shown, but I'm talking about having it is.
Yeah,
having
there
it
used to be.
visible for-
used to
And
be
in
one.
the McAuliffe hearing room too.
Yeah, it used to be one right.
There is, but I'm
next to
talking
the
about
table.
outside for the public to see it.
I think that's a good idea.
For Heritage Day.
I think we talked about it recently, maybe Andrew at a select board meeting about, ordering new
Yeah.
town flags that weren't so faded.
Yeah,
because I think it might be the one at the cemetery that,
the one in the
It's quite
cemetery, it
dated.
looks like it's in poor condition.
yeah, so we need to, I'll follow up on that too.
I mean, to my surprise, working at the monument, I was surprised we do not have a town flag at the all boards. A number of years have been taking care of that, because you noticed it probably a month ago. It's just an idea.
I think there used to be one there at the monument, but then, you know,
No, things change, but I
Yeah,
just think it'd be nice to bring it to the attention of. the
so with that,
citizens.
who would pay for if we bought, if the selectmen, the board of, the select board, purchased 10, 20 new town flags, would that come out of whose budget?
I think we could probably fund some of that through facilities or something like that. I don't know about
How much
20,
are they?
but
Yeah.
we'll find out how much they are. I don't recall how much they cost. But we'll find that out first.
And you may have individuals in town that are willing to purchase one.
Right.
For the community.
Anything else?
Well,
Thanks,
Just an
Brian.
idea.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Anything else? So I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, aye.
Martin's eye.
Chris Fury, aye.
Dennington, aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.